Welcome, kindred. It's Jessica. I hope you can hear me. Please let me know if you can. Hi, Nicole. This is going to be a ritual for the Sagittarius full moon, which is coming up in a few days' time. So we're going to be following like a kind of like a circle format. I don't know how many of us there will be here. I can see Thea as well. Hi, Thea. I'm just going to try I've got a few different cameras going on, so I'm going to try and turn off the light that's shining right in my face has just suddenly turned on on one of them so that it doesn't so that it's not distracting, because it is annoying at the moment. Let me see if I can do that. Sorry about this. Yeah, there we go. Brilliant. That's much better. Now I can look at you without it like blinding me. So yes, Sagittarius full moon ritual. So what we're going to do, we're going to have a little grounding first of all at the start of the ritual, just to get really present and in the space. Then we are going to talk about what a Sagittarius full moon means, what it's all about. Then I'm going to talk about like this specific Sagittarius full moon, because that's a little bit more neons than the, you know, like the overall. And then we're going to do a little bit of journaling to kind of unearth, because the Sagittarius full moon has got the potential for really like unearthing some deeply held truths which are not actually truths. And we're going to do a little bit of burning magic. So if you have got like a fireproof bowl or a cauldron, something like that, or if you haven't, then you can just use like a box of matches and you can do the release symbolically, like with each match as we go along. I'll explain all that as we get further into what we are doing. It should probably take us about an hour, maybe a little bit less than that. We'll see how we go. I've also got my journal in front of me here as well. I might do some journaling as we go along. You're welcome to do some journaling as you go along as well if you want to add some things. But yeah, that's basically the overview. I should have said hi, welcome, I'm Jessica. I am an astrologer and a guide to help people to really live their lives more connected with the moon cycles, with Goddess, and I do that through using the astrology, using journaling. So that is what to expect when we're here. Let me flick back over to see if anyone's chatting in the chat, which will be good. I'll be able to see. Oh, hi, Rebecca. Hey, folks. Yes, okay, so let's start then by just getting yourself into a comfortable position. You can lie down if you want to, or just kind of sit still with your feet on the ground. Take a couple of deep breaths. We're just going to do like a little grounding into the space. Okay, so yes, just take some deep breaths. In through the nose, and either out through the mouth or nose, whichever feels more comfortable for you. And just notice as you breathe, where's your energy at the moment? Where's your energy at today? Feel the earth supporting you, how it holds you completely without asking anything of you. And feel your breath moving like a tide, flowing in and out. Now, in your mind's eye, see yourself standing in front of an ancient door. This is the threshold of truth. Carved into the wood or stone of the door in front of you is the glyph of Sagittarius, which looks like an arrow, the archer's arrow, aiming up into the sky. You look at the door for a few moments, and then when you're ready, you place your hand on the door and it gently swings open. Step inside. Inside, you find yourself in a circular chamber of stone, silent, lit by candles. In the centre burns a small fire, a sacred flame. This is the flame of discernment. It burns not to destroy, but to reveal. Come and sit before the flame. Just take it in, being inside that chamber with the flame in front of you. As you sit, you notice that around you are echoes, soft whispering words, fragments. Some are familiar to you, others are unfamiliar. Listen closely, because these are the voices of old beliefs, stories told by others, or repeated by a younger version of yourself. Listen as these things rise up. Perhaps you hear, I am not enough. I must not be too much, or I am too much. I must earn love. I must stay small to stay safe. These are not all negative beliefs, though. You may hear things like, I am loved, or you are loved. You are brilliant. You are strong. You can come to this room and hear those reassuring beliefs about yourself, those core truths. But for today, we are focusing on those things which are not truths, which are lies. Lies that we've told ourselves, lies that other people have told us about who we are and how we show up in the world. Listen out for those ones, the ones that tug at you, the ones that trigger something, the ones that hurt. If you have your journal or a scrap of paper in front of you, you may want to write some of these down. We will be doing some more journaling later, but if something's coming up and you feel like I must write that down, you can do that now. Just get a sense of those lies bubbling up into your consciousness. And now you can turn to the flame, to that flame of discernment. And one by one, you can take these stories, these whispers, these lies, and hold them to the fire. And as each one meets the flame, see it clearly. Was it truly yours to begin with? Perhaps somebody else told this story originally. Does it serve your higher self? Or does it keep you bound to a past version of yourself, to a version of yourself which is no longer true? And as you do this, you can watch those that are lies puff into smoke. And with each release, feel yourself become lighter, clearer, more deeply rooted in your own knowing. Just take your time with this, take a few moments. You're welcome to come back here anytime if there are more beliefs. Usually there are many spirals of unraveling to be done in this room of truth with the flame of discernment. With each release, feel yourself become lighter and clearer. And in the space, the quiet that follows, listen again, and you may hear other truths emerging. Other truths which still feel true to you. You can hold these to the flame too, but they will not turn into smoke. They will sometimes turn into objects or stones, crystals. You can experiment with this again. But for now, just breathe in this space. The things that are truth, you breathe into your body. Those that are lies get twisted by the flame into smoke and released. And then when you're ready, you can get up, return to the door of the room, shut that door of truth, and return back to your body, to the here and now. You may want to wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, and just be here in the present moment, knowing that you can always return to that room of truth and that flame of discernment. It can be a supportive practice all through this Sagittarius full moon season, or whenever you need it, whenever it calls to you. And when you're ready, open your eyes. Okay, so how did that land for you? I'm curious. Hi Sherry, hi Nicole. Just going to take a sip of water. Yes, there's a little bit of a lag with the live, so I am like a few moments ahead of you, so I'm just going to give you a couple of moments to respond if you want to. You don't have to. You might be able to hear Frodo in the background as well. He's on his beanbag in the background, so excuse the noise from that, and the noise from my tummy rumbling as well while we were doing that. I'm going to be having dinner after this ritual, so it's funny as well because Sagittarius is Jupiter ruled, and Jupiter is a planet that enjoys its food, you know, enjoys that kind of thing. So I thought it was really funny that my tummy had things to say while we're doing this ritual. Hi Karen, nice to see you. Lovely. I wasn't sure how many people would be able to make it today, so I'm happy to see you here. Oh, and Siren. Yes. Okay. And if you want to return to that part of the ritual as well, you can obviously listen to that section of this video. It will be available afterwards as well, so you can listen to that again if you want to, or you can just in your, you know, yourself in your own mind's eye, you can go back to that room, go through the door and sit in front of the flame and do that exercise again as we go through. It can be really interesting, the kind of things that come up. Thea says that was lovely. I didn't expect it, but it felt very good. Oh, hey Trish, nice to see you. We are just doing a powerful full moon ritual for the Sagittarius full moon. I know we're not quite there yet, but we are approaching it. So I'm just going to switch my view a second because I want to show you my desk. So hopefully that will work. Okay, so what I wanted to show you is, this is the Sagittarius full moon guide. So these moon guides, if you're in the Moonwise membership, which I know quite a few of you here are, these guides are free inside the portal. I've printed mine in like a smaller format because I wanted to be able to cut bits out to use for my journaling, but you can also print them out in like you know, like as a whole page, either letter or A4 format. And I wanted to show you this because it goes into what the full moon in Sagittarius generally means, which I wanted to talk about for a little bit. And then we're going to talk about like what this is the chart for the lunation of this full moon, and I want to talk about what this specific full moon in Sagittarius is kind of all about. So and Nicole says, I feel like I'll be visiting that room with a fire often. It's very simple, but it's very, very powerful, especially repeated, because it's almost like we've got like an onion, you know, you have to just keep peeling back those layers. It can be really interesting, the kind of things that we think we've released, and then slightly different versions of them will keep coming forward. Carolyn, oh hi, I'm happy to have you joining live on your first session. Hi Carolyn, welcome. So yeah, these, like I said, these are in the member portal for members. They're £3, which I'm not sure what it translates into dollars, like I don't know, like $4 or something like that. But I've also got an offer which I've linked in the description of this video. If you did want these guides, I've got all 12 of the guides, which would be, what would it be? 12 times 3, £36. Which is probably about $40. I've got an offer to get all of them for half price at the moment. So if you thought you would be interested in those, then obviously it's a great time to grab those. That's only available for like until next week, basically. I'm going to do that, but there will be like a bundle after that as well, which I'll figure out, but it won't be this is the best time. I just thought it was very, very Jupiterian to be offering such a generous offer on that. So yeah, full moon in Sagittarius. The full moon already is that full, kind of full-bodied, very bright energy. It's a very like self-possessed energy, which is why, you know, as witches we often do a lot of stuff on the full moon, because it's a time when our personal power is kind of at a peak. Whereas at the new moon, that's also a very powerful time, but it's more like it can be better sometimes for like divinations and for like a releases and things like that, because it's a time when our personal power is usually at its lowest ebb, you know. I made a whole video talking about all this kind of stuff. It's more nuanced than that, but that's a kind of general overview. And then with Sagittarius is a sign that is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter is that kind of like expansive, sovereign, that kind of like generous, humorous, force of creativity, and always wanting to kind of like seek the higher truths, seek knowledge, seek wisdom, that kind of energy with this full moon. So when we get like a full moon in Sagittarius, it's a really powerful time for us to go after our own wisdom, our own truths, you know, which is hence the theme for this ritual, you know. So I'm hoping, you know, the timing is going to be really good. The moon's actually in Scorpio right now as we're doing this live, but it will be transitioning to Sagittarius on Monday. But it doesn't matter, you know, we're preparing for this now, and it's the sort of thing that I'm thinking I'm like laying the foundations for this. You can come back and revisit it if you want to on the actual full moon itself. Okay, so in the guide it gives you a little bit of information about like a Sagittarius full moon. It also says where it's falling for you. So like for me, I'm Libra rising, so for me it's falling in my 3rd house. It says communication, achievements, learning milestones, connecting with community. So those are all things that are kind of indicated for me specifically, and like if you're a different rising sign, you can look up what it is for you. Oh, Rebecca, I'm glad you enjoy the lives. I enjoy them as well, and I think like actually it's slightly easier for me than doing recording videos and editing and stuff like that, because obviously these are not edited. But yeah, so you can check for your rising sign, like the area of your life that's kind of been most affected by this moon. Then there's some like ritual suggestions, which is, you know, we're obviously doing a ritual here now, but there's also some other suggestions and things. There's some keywords: exploration, truth seeking, expansion, optimism, adventure, wisdom. These are really good. It's quite a bold moon. And then there's also some journal ephemera as well, which I'm going to be using to like cut out and stick into and there's also some journal prompts as well. So that's the kind of full moon energy in general, but let's look at this specific full moon in Sagittarius. Oh, I'm also we're going to pull some cards in a bit as well, and I pulled out the Mary L, which I haven't actually used for I think like over a year, so it's going to be quite interesting to to have a look at that. So full moon in Sagittarius, this specific one on the 11th of June. So for me it's on the 11th of June at 8:43. It's the same, it's happening at the same time for us all over the world, wherever we are, but obviously because we're all in different time zones, it seems like it's happening at a different time, but it's not. It happens simultaneously. Full moons, new moons, they all happen simultaneously across the globe, which is one of the reasons why I love doing the moon work so much. Obviously with the sun cycle, it's different, isn't it, where we're in different places in the world, you know, because like some of us are in the middle of winter while others are in the middle of summer, but with the moons, no, with the moons we're all experiencing those phases at the same time. So it's really, really powerful. So let's look. On my tummy's going again. Sorry about that. So let's have a look at this particular full moon. This is in my honeycomb planner, but you can print like lunation charts out. You just need to know the time of the moon for where you are, and then you can print out a chart for the moon if you want to. You don't need to understand any of this. I'm going to talk through this a little bit now, and like members, I've already gone deeper on this in our full moon member video, which will be available just before this full moon as well, and introducing our new goddess guide for this full moon, which I filmed this video now and I know who it is, and it's exciting. So okay, this full moon in Sagittarius. So we've got, at a full moon, we always have the sun and moon opposite each other, because that is what a full moon is. It's when the sun and the moon are at opposite sides of the zodiac. So we've got our sun in Gemini, we got our moon in Sagittarius. And so we've got that like tension of like the Gemini kind of playfulness, creativity, and then we've also got the moon, which is being more like kind of, yeah, but what about the deeper truths? What about that kind of expansion? It's a very chatty, communicative moon in general, because we've got two mutable signs here. So there's a lot of like kind of change, expansion, opportunities here with this moon. The ruler of this moon is Jupiter, and it is just moved in, literally just moved into Cancer, which is beautiful because Jupiter in Cancer is just delicious. It is that place in the zodiac where Jupiter is exalted, it's called in traditional astrology. So we've got that sense of Jupiter like newly on it and on an even better throne, you know, whereas in Gemini Jupiter is in its detriment, and then when we get to Cancer, it is in its exaltation. So it's like just before the moon, Jupiter's crossed over into Cancer, and that's really beautiful to be ruling that moon from that place. And also is close to Mercury as well. So Mercury is about communication, also healing as well in Cancer, you know. Sometimes it can be that kind of intuitive inner communication. Again, that's one of the reasons why I chose this theme for this particular full moon ritual that we are doing now. So we've got that expansion of communication, of like moon, heart, body communication, safety in our bodies, understanding, like I say, about those like deeper truths, what it is to be me, how it is to feel this, you know, all that kind of stuff is bubbling up. And it's also all squaring that Saturn and Neptune getting very close. It won't actually be a conjunction until next year. We've got that Saturn and Neptune in Aries as well. So we've also got this kind of like weird initiation energy with this moon as well, which is why I wanted to bring in some of that fire energy. And Sagittarius is a fire sign as well, so we're bringing in that fire energy with this ritual. We're going to be using, I've got my cauldron here, I'm going to be burning some lies and things that come up. So yeah, just a little overview of what this particular full moon is about. Like I said, members, there'll be more and an introduction to the goddess coming soon for you. Okay, so let me switch back to this. Oh, Karen, I'm glad you enjoyed them as well. Let me switch back to my face for a moment. So seamless, not at all seamless. And like try and turn that light off because it keeps coming on when I do that. Okay, so let's work through then some prompts, some helpful prompts. So we've already done a little bit of this work with the visualization. You know, we've gone into that room and we've allowed some of those things to bubble up, but now we're going to use journaling as well. I like to try and attack things from a few different angles sometimes, because it can bring, and then also use cards, you know, because then we can get another insight into it as well, so we can look at this in a few different ways. So I've got some prompts. I'll copy and paste them, see if I can do that into the chat actually. Let me do that. Yes, Siren, that's a good read for that as well. Oh, is it letting me do that or not? No, it doesn't doesn't seem to be letting me put it in. Why not? I don't know. Is it because I'm not? I don't know. Oh, hang on. It's too long. That's why. Right, okay. Let me take that off then and delete, and then it's going to let me send. I'll put the rest of them in another, it's because it was too long for the chat, so I'll do that again in a moment. Siren's raised a good point about Jupiter and Mercury together. It could be better commerce and finance. It could be, definitely, you know, and we might see that play out. Mercury's moving very quickly though, and it will be retrograding as well, so that there'll be like some back and forth with that is going on. Jupiter though is going to be in Cancer for like a whole year now, so that's definitely a good expansion in whatever area of your chart that is going to be. So for me, it's my 10th house, which is to do more with like work kind of stuff, like not so much like work, but more like kind of like your calling, what it is that you do in the world. So that'll be interesting to see how that plays out. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the markets do. Sometimes when Jupiter is in a more like exalted state, the markets can definitely be looking a bit healthier. But yeah, we have got that Mercury back and forth a little bit as well, so that's something just to be aware of. I wouldn't maybe be like investing super quickly into something, perhaps without kind of testing out, or don't go crazy, you know, with it, because that's the other thing with Jupiter sometimes, is there's a tendency to go big, you know, to go too big. So that's just something to watch out for as well. And let me copy the rest of those again, see if I can put that in. I can't like format them, which is a bit annoying, but have I got all of those? What untruths? I feel like I might have missed one. Oh, I think it's just what are they saying. Okay, so these are the prompts. We've got, what lies have we been told about who we must be in order to receive love, protection, or belonging? I know this is like a really big, that's a really big question. So that's something that you maybe will want to sit with for a while, or sometimes things will start bubbling up straight away, you know. What lies have we been told about who we must be to receive love, protection, or belonging? As humans, we naturally want to feel belonging because that's safe for us. So really it's about safety in the underneath of it all, you know. And then it's like, a lot of this is about safety, especially like when we're thinking of Jupiter being in Cancer. It's like safety in our bodies, safety in our homes, safety in our environments. It's all of these kind of things that are kind of coming up now. So it's like, what untruths or lies have we constructed in order to stay safe, acceptable, or worthy? And sometimes that'll be things like playing small, you know, that comes up a lot, or like people pleasing. You know, that is also something, because we do those things in order to stay safe again, you know, in order to keep things smooth and not have to like blow it all open kind of thing, you know what I mean? So that's something to consider as well, like what untruths have we constructed? And like we all have these things, we all have these like ways of doing things, and I think it's not something that's like I'll just tick off doing those now, you know. This is something that we need to keep coming back to. This is something that I keep coming back to again and again. I'm like, I thought I fixed it, but no, I need to now look at this, because it's unraveling layers every time. And then this is one that I find helps me a lot. Whose voice do I hear when I doubt myself? Or you can be like, whose voice do I hear saying these lies, you know? And quite often it can be a parent. Sometimes it's our own voice. Sometimes it's like a colleague, or you might find that they'll be different, or like a boss or something like that. They will be different voices, or partner, different voices sometimes saying some of the different things, and that can be gold in trying to like unravel, where does this come from, you know, where does that come from? So yeah, when you're in that room, if you return to that room in truth, and you're sitting with that flame of discernment, you can see whose voice is this, you know. Parents are usually the biggest culprit of those voices. And what are they saying? You know, specifically, sometimes there's even specific words or phrases that they will say that we're like, oh, you know, it really gets us, you know. This is bold work that we're doing here. You know, we are doing this bold work. And then this, because, you know, it's not always, we need to be looking at ourselves as well. How do I benefit from holding on to this false story? And what would it cost me to let it go? Because, and like the answer is nearly always, it's kind of almost easier to stay in that lie, you know, usually because it's like, well, maybe it'll cause problems in my relationship if I don't do that, or maybe it'll cause problems with my parents or with my children, or, you know, if I don't keep playing along with the lie, what consequences are there going to be? And usually they're consequences which make us feel like sad or uncomfortable or regretful, you know. And so we choose to carry on playing along with the lie instead of standing firm in our truth and facing the consequences of that, you know. So being quite honest about it, and it nearly always comes back to our safety, you know, that sense of belonging. I feel like I'll be rejected if I tell the truth about this thing, you know. That's often at the root of it. But, you know, you need to examine this for yourself and see what things are coming up for you. And then what truth is trying to break through the lies. Because the thing is, and this is the reason for this specific ritual, we're going to be burning some of these lies, and what we did in that room is we need to clear space, you know. If we want to embrace those Jupiterian gifts that can come in now, we need to let go of some stuff in order to create some space to allow that to come in. Because if it's already like stuffed full, then there's no room for that. And basically, the more space we can create, the more we can welcome in, the more abundance we can welcome in. I'm just going to check back into the chat because I kind of went off on one. Siren's saying, I'm hoping Jupiter and Mercury have some influence on easing these crazy tariffs, or maybe a tariffs don't hit that hard on smaller businesses. Yeah, I suppose it could, couldn't it? I suppose we have got that Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. It's often to do with like the home though as well. So there might be a protectiveness around home, you know, like and the country, you know, in that sense. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out for sure. Yeah, I wonder, they'll probably talk about this on the astrology podcast as well. Take a shot if you do the astrology calls, because I mention the astrology podcast all the time. We'd say take a shot when I say the astrology podcast. So it'll be interesting to see what they say about that on there anyway. Sarah said, I've never contemplated or even noticed whose voice it is. It's really interesting when you start to hear the voice. Whose voice? Yeah, definitely. Nicole says the cost when you stop being small or people pleasing is that people want to stifle you again. People want to suppress my growth or bigger voice or bigger energy, especially in workplaces. Yes. So you've noticed that, and it's more stuff comes along with that often as well then, isn't it? It's like, so how do I kind of keep showing up with my truth when it's much easier to kind of not do that as well? Rebecca says, saying I'm sorry constantly is something I'm working on personally. Brilliant. I don't need to apologise for everything. Yes. Because it's like, I'm not sorry for being me and for showing up, you know. It's not, it's seen as being like polite, isn't it? To be like, oh sorry, you know. And yeah, that can be a really ingrained one that is tricky to kind of to unplat out of things. Yeah, that's a powerful one. Definitely a powerful one. Okay. So you might want to work on some of those, but I want to pull some cards now for maybe one or two of these. Let's see. And I'll also have a look. What have I got on the just general prompts in here as well? So general prompts here, I've got, what beliefs or perspectives are you ready to release to embrace greater wisdom and freedom? How can you expand your horizons? That's a great one for Jupiter as well. And pursue your quest for truth. Sorry, my daughter's also walking around in a room above my head now, so it's creaky. What areas of your life need more optimism and positivity? Reflect on your personal goals and aspirations. How can you align them with your highest truth? Interesting, yeah. So those are great ones. I'm going to use like this journal ephemera to set up. Let me show you what I did last time. This was my Scorpio full moon. I just kind of used some of the stuff that I cut out of here to like make a frame, and then I dug into some of the prompts and the cards, and I wrote a little bit about I did like a little evening ritual as well as the ritual that we did together here as well. Yeah. So you may want to follow that format, but you can totally do it, you know, you can just scribble it down however you want to do it basically. But let's pull some cards and see what is coming up as well. So I'll pull cards as kind of like a collective reading because I haven't used this deck for ages. It's large and tricky to shuffle, but we will figure it out. I reckon it's definitely a Catholic woman thing to do. Yeah. Yes. I think religion in general, like, is like, when a religion is based around that idea of like original sin, you know, like that we come in inherently sinful, then we're going to feel like we've got a lot to apologize for, a lot to atone for before we even start living our lives, you know. So that's a lot, isn't it? That is a lot. Yeah, these cards are too big for me to riffle like that. I'll try and do them like this. They're big and they're stiff. And they're also quite challenging imagery wise as well, so I should warn you about that. There's some weird stuff on some of these cards, but it just felt like, I don't know, it just felt like the right choice for this particular I think they'd be excommunicated if they knew who I really am. Yeah. And that, I mean, that totally ties back into that idea of belonging, isn't it? It's like, if we can only belong if we pretend, how true is that belonging really? You know, how real is that belonging really? It's performative at best then, isn't it? Hollow. It's hollow. Okay, so I think I'm going to pull 3 cards. And I think I'll pull one for what lies. I want to keep it kind of simple, so I'm not going to go too in depth with some of these prompts. But it's like, what lies are coming up now, are surfacing now. And then a card for like, how can I work with these to release them? And I think I'll pull a card for like what truths are coming up as well now, and maybe I suppose another one to say like, and how can I allow but probably nothing will really need to be done apart from the release of the lies, you know. Okay, let's try this again. So, what lies? And like as a communal reading, this is going to be like communal lies, I suppose, that are coming up. Oh, interesting. 10 of discs, 10 of pentacles, 10 of coins. That's an interesting one to be coming up in that position of, oh, hang on, let me shift back to my desk so you can see these cards, because that'll probably be more interesting while we're doing this. Yeah. So, 10 of discs, 10 of pentacles. It is, I don't know if you can see, but we've got this kind of like ram, like riding on a horse, it looks like, and it's got these like, there's a lot interesting you're saying about like Catholicism as well. There's a lot of religious imagery in these cards as well, but quite like twisted, I suppose, like not twisted in a bad way, but just non-traditional, then, as I say, non-traditional religious imagery. And there's also a lot of kind of like tree of life type stuff in there as well, so the guidebook's really handy because there's a lot of like layers of stuff that are in here. So 10 of discs is like lies. It's often going to be things to do with like we already talked about, like the tariffs and things like that are going on. It's to do with like that idea of safety in security in financial, like if we can kind of only have enough like money, resources, status, even health as well, then we will be safe. Do you see what I'm saying? It's like, if I can accumulate these things, then I will be safe. But actually, that safety, like when we look, that this horse is like in the sky, you know, this winged horse is in the sky. It's also a mythical creature, isn't it? Like a winged horse. It's an illusion, you know, it's that idea of safety through the stuff. And like, don't get me wrong, it's lovely to have the stuff because it can be really useful, you know. We can use our resources to do certain things, but it's not about the appearance, I suppose, you know, like the having the things does not prove our worth. That's the lie, isn't it? It's like, this is not a reflection of my worth. The stuff that I have is not a reflection of my worth. My worth is independent of that. And so kind of trying to divorce those two things is really powerful and not easy and difficult. So how do we do that then? Okay, we've got the King of Cups. And so we've got this king energy that is like half subsumed kind of in this pool, you know. We've got the lily pads and the flowers. He's holding a trident, which is really interesting because like we talked about the fact that this moon, what have I done with that now here? This moon, we've got the ruler of this moon, which is Jupiter, which you could think of Jupiter as being like Jupiter in Cancer as the King of Cups, but it's also squaring, like I said, that Saturn and Neptune stuff. And like we can think of Saturn sometimes as being like accumulation. Saturn is very much connected to that idea of like climbing the ladder and planning for the long term and all that kind of stuff that could go with that 10 of discs. And then when we get Neptune coming along with Saturn, we've got that juxtaposition of that more feelings based and sometimes fantasy, sometimes illusion based stuff as well. You know, the King of Cups is a very like dreamy, if you can see, like we can't see all of his face, you know. He is kind of like looking at us as well, but also part of it is like part concealed. So what is this saying, I suppose, is like how to release this is about bringing that emotional, not trying to hide, I suppose, emotional stuff because it's tricky, because it's difficult, because it's easier to not do that. Like we already talked about that, so it's probably no surprise that this is what is coming up, you know. It's like there's stuff that's beneath the surface, only some of it is visible to us at the moment, and it's probably going to take a bit of time as well, you know. We're thinking of that Saturn and Neptune together there, but we need to allow all of it to be seen, to be able to really get like a handle on it, you know, like what is the truth. And also I feel like it's saying that it's like it's half true as well, isn't it? It's like having resources, like we said, is really great for a lot of things, you know. It means that we can live our lives in a certain way if we have access to certain resources, but it's not true. It's that bit, isn't it? It's the bit about it being there's not a correlation to how much stuff that we've got and how our worth as a person. That correlation is false. And so seeing the truth of it, seeing like kind of unpicking all of the emotions around that is something that is powerful and which is quite tricky to do. Yeah. Oh, hey, Shan. Thea said, my dad always said, never apologise for being you and holding your own thoughts and being the true you. Yes. That sounds like a really powerful thing for your dad to say, Thea, as well. I wish more dads would say things like that. Okay, so should we have a look at the truth then? The truth that is... Oh, okay. And we've got this 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups. So we started off with the 10 of discs as being the lie. And now we have this 10 of Cups as being the truth that wants to come through. So there's like a kind of direct relationship between these two things. This 10 of Cups is such a... This card triggered a lot of controversy with this deck because we've got like this kind of like skeleton woman. It looks like breastfeeding a kind of like a skeleton baby kind of thing, you know, and at the same time is like pouring out this like blood kind of stuff behind. And again, we've got this horse on here as well, which is kind of looks like it's kind of like emerging out from underneath her. And so the truth is complicated. The truth is that sometimes we do need to give of ourselves in a way that is nurturing and supportive, and sometimes that does mean that it can be quite draining for us. But the truth is also that there's a give and take with that. There's a reciprocity with that, where sometimes we are pouring out more, sometimes we are receiving more, and we're not keeping like a tally of it. It's not like last week we did this and so this week we do this. Wouldn't it be great if it was so neat as that? But it just doesn't work like that. It doesn't work so neatly as that. It is more complicated, more layered, more neons than that. So so we have our lie of our outer worth determines our inner worth. That's the lie. The way that we challenge that lie is by getting really deep into our feelings and getting emotional maturity really around those feelings, those emotions, so that we can see it clearly. We're not just kind of having this half viewed take on that. Also that dreaming element as well. This is a very sort of like dreamlike image. I mean, the whole deck is kind of like weird dreamlike images, to be honest, but it has got that energy of allowing intuition, dreams, being guided, being like spirit guided potentially, or emotionally guided to know. We can he's so kind of like immersed in that water, but he's still kind of like got an eye out, and he's also got his trident. He's not unprotected, and he's naked, so if there's like an inherent kind of vulnerability there, which is very like Cancer, Jupiter in Cancer, but he's keeping an eye out, and he's also got his protection there as well. So it's like, to unearth it, we need to allow our emotions, but also to not I suppose make ourselves really vulnerable to people who don't give a shit about us, or who are trying to keep us in those lies really as well. There's lots of layers to that. And then yes, the truth of the Ten of Cups, emotional maturity in a fulfilled and reciprocal way. Yeah, let's see what it says, because there's some weird stuff in here as well. Let's have a look what it says for the Ten of Cups in here. Frodo's. Oh no, I was going to say Frodo's back outside. He's not. He's right next to me, so he's not. Okay, where is it? Ten of Cups. And the keyword is memento vivere. Remember to live. Remember to live. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I told you there's a lot of religious imagery in here, so be warned. When the Lamb opened the second seal, I heard the second living creature say, "Come." Then another horse came out, a fiery red one. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make men slay each other. To him was given a huge sword. We recognize that we possess a divine spark from God inside us, but is it possible we also have a small piece of the abyss, of chaos? The Ten of Cups is the wheel of water, the ever-changing fortunes of the heart. The red horse is the heart. His thundering hooves, the smooth beat of the turning wheel, which pumps the blood, drawing in and pushing out the ancient bloodline. Every one of us rides this horse in our short lives. As stewards of the royal blood, it passes through us and to our children, and from them to their children. So we've got this idea of ancestry, of lineage coming through as well, this truth. And when we do deep healing work, like we're talking about here, of releasing lies and things like that, it has a knock-on effect down through our lineage, through our ancestry as well. The mother and child are memento mori, which in Latin means to remember your mortality. Death comes for each of us equally and often without warning. One should always be prepared for it and should live life to the fullest every day, carpe diem. Love, joy, relationships, emotions, peace, interconnectedness, And the opposites, war, loss, grief, sadness, suffering, separation, are all part of the wheel of water and make up the whole spectrum of the experience of being alive. Yeah, so it's that idea of like flow, of change as well. Like the truth is that things change, that we change, that what we will kind of like accept is going to change as we work through. Yeah, these cards are, they're a lot, I know. So keywords, changing fortunes in matters of the heart, relationships, love, emotions, because everything is temporary. Appreciate what is important. Carpe diem, which means seize the day, you know. So we've got that idea of seizing the day, of not keeping our truths inside of us because to keep the peace, but of allowing that to come out. And then when we see it in reverse, it's about forgetting to love life, seeing only the bad, pessimism, succumbing to negativity, war, loss, grief. All is temporary. If it's terrible now, it will change, as change is constant. And that's interesting as well, because it's like, it's reassuring when we're feeling really sad and regretful or full of grief and things like that, that is, I know it's hard to remember in those moments, but it does, like they say, this too shall pass, isn't it, you know? And like obviously the great emotions also pass, but they all pass, you know. We will keep moving through this. We need to keep moving through these realms of emotions. Yeah. And yeah, traditional divinatory meanings are a good marriage, but I don't see that as how that is kind of coming through. But the truth, I suppose the truth, and I guess what is the key to a good marriage is communication, intimacy, and being able to speak our truth and having that connection without having to like sacrifice parts of ourselves. And like I'm taking marriage in terms of like all of our relationships, good connections with people, you know. Yeah, Sarah saying one of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Interesting imagery. Yeah, they are all 4. I should have said that. The 4. I wonder if I can find the others. No doubt they will not be easily found now. Yeah, but this deck is it's a lot. There you go. There's the 10 of Swords. So yeah, we've got those four horsemen. There's a lot of like layers, and there's also a lot of like stuff on the cards as well, like coded stuff that you can go into, some like astrology stuff, also like Kabbalah stuff as well. Yeah, must be in this part of the deck. Some of the cards are really beautiful, some of the cards are really triggering. Some of them are both at the same time. But for some reason it was the one that I wanted to use. I used to use this deck quite a lot as well for like shadow worky type readings, but there we go, there's the 10 of Wands. But it is, there's a lot. I think maybe I just was like, give myself a break for a bit. So there are the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, and there's that that King of Cups there as well. Yeah. Yes, Siren, memento mori, thinking of your own mortality, or in this case, how you react to the lies and the truth. And how our mortality is like Cancer, which like Jupiter's gone into Cancer now, is to do with the body, our mortality. It's, the idea is that it reminds us, isn't it, that we are here for a short time. And so should we hide, you know, should we hide while we're here? Like that doesn't seem like a good thing to be doing, a good use of the time. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to pop those to one side. I haven't done any of my journal spread, but I'll do that myself afterwards, that's fine. I'm going to clear some space and bring my little cauldron in, and I'm going to invite you, if you have got something safe that you can burn something in, to do that. But if not, you can just use a box of matches, or you can use a candle and like cocktail sticks. That also works as well, where you just kind of light the cocktail sticks and you can just like throw them in the sink, or because they like so thin, you can even put them in like in just like a regular bowl, and they won't crack your bowl. So the idea is that we're going to write down, you know, dig into that idea of things that you believe are true about yourself, or did believe that were true about yourself, and we're going to be burning them and casting them away inside the cauldron. So I'll do one just as an example, but I'm sure you understand. This is not rocket science here, is it? Saren says, also thinking, living or dying by the truth, exploring the tension between truth-telling and the potential consequences, both positive and negative, of adhering to one's values and beliefs. Yes, because it's a tension, isn't it? Because we've also got to consider that other people's truths exist as well, and they may not be the same as ours. And so there is this like natural tension between, it's not truth, is it? It's truths. And we do want to belong, So it's not about like rubbing up in people's, being all up in people's faces and telling them things about themselves. It's not that, is it? It's about feeling grounded in ourselves, I suppose. And just like when we think about those two cards, it's that idea of like our self-worth is not determined by the stuff we have. Our self-worth is not determined by what other people don't determine our self-worth. We determine that. But that's the same as we also don't determine other people's worth, do we? It's got that, it's layered, isn't it? It's nuanced, it's layered, which is very, very Sagittarius, because Sagittarius is all about finding that deeper truth, that higher truth. And we think of that arrow kind of shooting off, it's shooting off into bigger, higher realms of kind of like truth and understanding of the world. Okay, so like I could write on here, I feel like there's lots of things I have believed, I need to soften my truth to be loved. Heartbreaking, but that's something that I believe. And like they're good if they're good ones to do if you still feel like they've got a hold on you as well. Those are the ones. Like if there's things you've been working on, you feel like I've already released that, that's not so useful. But if you are, if it's still something, then those are the good ones to do. It's easiest to do this by lighting a candle. I've got a candle here. Oh, is it going to be too hot for me to pick up? No, I've got it. Okay. And the easiest and kind of safest way, which I've learned the hard way by trying to do this, is to kind of take your tongs and your candle and like set fire to your piece of paper with the candle, and then pop it into your heat-proof bowl. You can also just use like any kind of like thick like earthenware type bowl, and you can put like sand or salt or something in the bottom of it. There's loads of ways. You don't have, like, it's cute to have a mini cauldron, but you do not need to have a mini cauldron to do this kind of stuff. And like I said, you could also, if you've got matches, you could just do the same, but you speak it out loud while you light the match and then just discard the match, or you could do the same with cocktail sticks, which can be handy as well, where you light the cocktail stick, they start to burn, and then you can just drop those. They burn out themselves quite easily, so you're not going to start like a fire, whereas the paper sometimes can go a little bit crazy. And if you want to return to this and do it again, you can also, like, it can be nice to have some incense like on a charcoal disc going in the bottom of the thing that you're burning as well, because then you've got that kind of like scented smoke as well, which it adds a bit of drama to the sorry, my laptop is it adds a bit of drama to the situation, which we talked about this in the last ritual as well, where the more we can involve our senses when we're doing magic, it seems to work better. It reaches into more parts of us, I think, So, like, I won't demonstrate any more of that. I'm sure you understand what it is. Karen's already got stuck into the bin. You obviously felt like you had things you were ready to go with, though, Karen, so don't worry. Oh, I also, just as a little tip, I also have like a tile that I keep my cauldron on, because I've learned the hard way that I often set fire to things by accident as well. So having like a heat-proof tile like a ceramic tile can be helpful to stop that from happening. She says she learns the hard way. Yeah, Siren, that's a really good question as well, one that people often ask. I wonder when burning something, if it doesn't burn fully, if it means something is not, like, I do kind of take it that if, like with this one, it's loved. Look what's left. Oh my gosh. There we go, it's left the truth. It's left the truth for me, loved. Whereas the rest of it is completely burned away. So yeah, it's interesting to look at that. But I think sometimes, especially people, like I know you guys are not beginners, but sometimes I think beginners can get caught up in that a little bit with that. And if you want to, you can just try again. Try burning it again, you know, and see what happens. Or write the whole thing out again and try releasing it again. And sometimes we talked about this as well, I think, when did we talk about this? I feel like we spoke about this before, where like sometimes you just do need to keep releasing the same thing. You know, it's something that is it's not just like, oh, there you go, done, easy. You know, it's something that we do need to come back to. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna try and pop you back so I can see. I said I can see you. Obviously, I can't see you, but I feel like I can when I do this. Okay, so we're coming up to the end now. I just wanted to just kind of take a moment to ground that energy as well, because when, like, we haven't done very much, maybe you are burning now, and that's great. You can continue to do that. You can continue to carry on like burning your stuff, allowing that to like bubble up. It's kind of like weird demonstrating ritual. So I hope you don't mind that I'm not going to carry on doing that. It's going to be something that is going to be much easier for me to do like privately later. But you get the idea, you know, so you can continue with this if you want to. You can continue like journaling some of these things, and you can also continue doing it like for longer. You could do it around the full moon, and you can also continue to do that then for the whole of the waning cycle of the moon as well, you know. It's not something, and then once you're done, it's a good idea to then discard all of that stuff. Depending on whether it's compostable or not, you can put it outside, but if it's not, you know, dispose of it in a sensible way that doesn't harm the earth, basically. Yeah, does that, if anyone's got any questions about that, but I want to make sure that after you've done it, it does raise quite a lot of energy and a lot of emotion, and so just having a little grounding after you've done it is really helpful. And to do that, it's nice just to put like one hand on your heart, one hand on your belly, and just return to your breath for a moment, and really feel your feet on the floor, and any extra energy that is left over, you can just feel that like draining out into the earth, and the earth will accept it and recycle it for you. You don't have to worry about it. You can also like send it out if you want to, but sometimes I think just keep it simple, you know, let it go back down into the earth, let that energy ground down into the earth. If you did have like a cause, you know, or something that you wanted to send any extra energy to, you could do that. But I find sometimes when there's been a lot of emotion involved, it can be a little bit like confused. The energy can be a little confused, you know, because you're like pointing it at a few different things then. So yeah, that's why I think just letting it drain back into the earth is really supportive. Also, sometimes just like eating and drinking something can help you to be back in your body, back grounded in your body after doing that kind of deep cleansing work, you know. It's funny, isn't it, with a lot of the stuff like magic, it's like it feels like you're doing nothing much, and yet, as you know, if you do it, you know, like if you read about it, it doesn't work so much, or at all. But once you start doing it, you realize even though it seems small and like not a big deal, it has an amazing, especially burning stuff, it's got such a cathartic effect. It's really powerful. Yeah, disproportionately powerful from what it seems that you're doing, is what I mean. So yeah, I hope that you've enjoyed the ritual. I have got a little reading from the wee moon that I wanted to close out with as well, but I'm just going to give you a moment in case there are any questions or anything that anybody wants to say, and also to invite, like I know lots of you here are already in the Moonwise membership, but if this has resonated with you, you may well find that the membership is a great place for you too. If it's not right for you though, but you do want to be in community, we've also got a really lovely Discord community server which is free. You don't need to, you know, pay anything for that. You can come over and join us in Discord. There's some really cool things happening over there. We've got like book club and writers group and all kinds of things going on in there. So yes, let me find the chat because I've lost it again now. Rebecca says sometimes I feel like I get caught up with the little details like that. I'm learning as I go. It's so many people do, and like especially people with a lot of Virgo. It's like all those little details, like and like people often forget to say, don't they? Like they forget to say what to do with the stuff afterwards and things like that. And then people are like, well, what do I do? And am I going to do it wrong? People worry about doing it wrong a lot. So you're not alone. Like lots of people worry about those things as well. So just give yourself, give yourself patience with that. And as you go on, you'll get more confident, and so you'll be confident in your own decision making about how to do those things as well. Yes. Sarah says, thanks as always, Jessica. The title of this video, Burn the Lie and Find Your Truth, really came true for you. Your truth is love, synchronicity. Oh, yes, Siren, thank you. I think I will keep that little piece of paper because that is a really helpful reminder. And thank you for saying that. That's beautiful. Oh, Karen, you're welcome. Thank you. Oh, Shan, yeah, I'm glad you got to poke your head in. I know you're working today, which sucks. So yeah, this will be available to you, and especially as like a fiery person that you are, you'll probably enjoy this one. So yeah, come to the Discord. So I think I've linked the Discord. I hopefully have linked the Discord in the description. But if not, if somebody wants to pop the link, like an invite to the Discord into the chat, that'd be really cool. So we'll just finish off with oh yeah, Rebecca saying if someone can post the Discord link, I'd appreciate it. I have so much trouble getting on there. Yeah, it's it's great when it works. It does generally work, I think, but there's been a couple of people who have said that they find trickiness with it. So the thing I've chosen to read from the Wee Moon is actually from this year's Wee Moon, and I flicked through and allowed it to kind of show me what wanted to be read, and I was like, oh, that's strange, first of all. But then as I read it, I was like, okay, this is a very Cancer zodiac sign coded message that is here, and it actually fits in quite a bit with like what has come up as well with the cards and things like that, thinking about it now. So this is called Come Home. It's an excerpt from a longer piece by Kirsten Olsen from this year's Wee Moon, from the Wee Moon 2025. Come home. Come home to your body. You are welcome here. Forget what you've done and what you've not. This temple was built for you. And even if the floors aren't clean and the window is broken and there's shit all over the place, you are welcome. Come home to your body. Now let's take a breath. Settle into my lungs. Melt through the fascia that keeps you. Expand into this space, contained yet so vast. Bring your exhaustion, your hunger, your excess. Welcome home. Yeah, perfect. All of that about the vastness and the expansion. So Sagittarius full moon energy. Beautiful. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here, for joining me for this. I've linked everything, like the decks and all that stuff, hopefully in the description. Oh, thanks, Siren. Siren's added a link to the Discord, so hopefully that will work. I think, why can't I just save the link somewhere? But it just doesn't seem to keep working. I don't know. There's some sort of weird Discord magic that I don't understand, but thank you so much for being here with me. I'll see you guys over in the Discord later. I'll take photographs of the cards as well. I'll put them in the Discord straight away now as well, so you've got those if you want them. Warmest blessings, and I will see you very soon. Bye. Ooh.